Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be working on the steering box in the Camaro. I'm in the middle of painting the engine bay, but it looks like it's going to downpour right now, so I got to take a day off just to wait for the weather to clear up. So I figured I need to get this steering box repaired, so I can get it back in the car. So I'll make a video on my attempt to repair it here. Basically, the problem I was having is that my steering box was leaking. Now, it's been this way for a while. My first quick fix was I put some stop leak in there, and it stopped leaking like it's supposed to for maybe about 2 years, and then it just recently started leaking again. I mean, it's not pouring out, but it's a pretty good leak. I have to top the fluid off maybe like once a month, but I want to get around to fixing this. So what I did was I went and I pulled the box apart. I got like a regular rebuild kit. I didn't rebuild the whole box because I never did something like that before. I didn't want to risk, messing anything up. I really just needed a reseal, so I went ahead, I replaced the pitman arm seal here, and then I replaced the input shaft here where the steering shaft comes in. Got those both replaced, but I noticed when I went and pulled the shaft out here that the pitman arm rides on is that it is extremely pitted and rusted down here where the seal rides, which is probably why the seal was leaking in the first place. I mean, aside from being 30 years old. But if I'm going to install this with my new seals, it's most likely going to leak. I mean, if you could see here up close, this is extremely pitted. And I tried cleaning it up with emery cloth. It helped a little bit, but I mean, still the pits and the grooves are still here. So I need a way to fill that. My first thought was welding, which it's going to be really hard to get this thing shaped down and keep it round after welding it. So I'm not going to go that route. So I went ahead, I picked up some JB Weld. I'm going to mix this stuff up. I'm going to try to apply it on here as thin as possible. And then I'm going to hit it with some emery cloth and just, hopefully this sands relatively easy. I never tried sanding this stuff before. People say it's really tough, it's supposed to be like steel when it dries. I guess I'll be finding out today. But I'm going to use this, try to get it all smoothed out as nice as possible, and see if it works, see how long it lasts. I mean, I was looking online for fixes for this problem. I wasn't able to find anything. Sometimes they make like a sleeve kit like you could get for a rear end, like a crankshaft, like if the crank seal, something like this happens, or the crank gets damaged, you could put like a sleeve over there with like an oversized seal. I was hoping they would have sold something like that for this. They don't. There's really no way that I can even reposition the seal so it rides like further down or further up on this. Is what you see is what you get. You can't really move it at all. So I'm going to start mixing this stuff up. I'm going to try to apply it on here as thin as possible. Let it dry. I think we got to wait. Full cure, 15 to 24 hours. I got to see if I got to wait that long. Well, I got to wait at least 4 to 6 for it to dry. So yeah, I'm not going to be getting to this today, but we'll get the first stage done, get this stuff applied, then we'll come back and sand it tomorrow. Alright, so it has been a few days. JB Weld is all dry. Now I'm going to come back and hit it with some 80 grit emery cloth. Now, basically I'm just going to I'm going to knock down all the bulk of the material off, and then I'm going to come in with some 120 grit and smooth it out, because I don't want to go all the way down to the metal and to the JB Weld repair that's actually in the scoring and the grooves, because I don't want the 80 grit here to get into those grooves and pull any material out. So I'm going to start sanding down with this, get as much of this material off as I can without going too far down, and then I'm going to go and hit it with the 120 grit. Okay, I think I got the majority of this knocked down. So I'm not going to go any further with the 80 grit. But now I'm going to come in here and hit it with the 120 and continue removing material. And I'm going to go all the way down to the bare metal with that. And that should be smooth enough where it's not going to get into those cracks and remove any of the JB Weld. 120. Alright, so that is it with the 120 grit. Now most of this is sanded down. You can see all that's really left is the JB Weld that's still in the grooves. So I'm going to go hit this one more time with 320 grit, and then I'm going to come in and smooth everything out with like 1,000. Alright, so that just about does it. So you can see the JB Weld filled in all the little pits and grooves here. It's not hanging up on my fingernail anymore, so that alone should really help. I'm going to go ahead and get this installed in the box. I got the box all cleaned up, painted, new seals installed. Get this finished up so I can get this back in the car. Engine bay painting part 2. That's on its way. I just have a lot of footage I have to like sift through. That's why I haven't uploaded yet. I have footage from the first time I was recording, you know, sanding everything down, hitting it with the SEM primer, and then I had the problem where the primer wasn't adhering. So I'm trying to see which parts of that I want to put in the video, just because I did do a lot of prep, you know, taking some parts down to bare metal. So I'm going to include some of that, and then I have all the new footage of actually using the paint stripper for the damaged SEM primer sections, and then sanding that down, and then respraying etch primer, and then also respraying the high build primer, and then actually finally getting around to the base coat. So I'm going to include a little of all that in there, but yeah, there's probably like maybe like 100 gigs of footage that I have to go through and see what I want to use. So here's the steering box over here. You see I got it all painted, ready to go. Just got to take the tape off. I got a new bearing in there for the pitman arm. New seals are installed. So this thing's ready to go. Now that I got this shaft over here cleaned up, I can throw this back in, put a new seal on the top here, and then this thing's good to go. It's ready to go back in the car.